Hey there Internet, Raiza here with a deck update video. Ever since Dual Alliance come out, I was kind of tweaking around with white prints coming out. So I decided to do an update on Skull Servants.
By the way, before we get started with the deck, Kraz here by the way, can we just talk about how crazy the last Skull Servant deck video we did blew up?
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised.
I think we've hit 2,000 views on it.
23, 24-ish.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys like it.
Yeah. So this is an update video on that, just going through, changed a few things around in the deck. I actually changed it immediately after that last video. Ran in that for a while with a Zombie World and Super Poly. It ran alright, but not as fast without it. Plus with white prints, it's crazy fast. Especially with the new trap in here. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with just the monsters. Start off with 3 Skull Servants, 3 Kings, 3 Ladies, 3 White Mares, and 3 White Princes for the white portion of this deck. And this now takes up, was it now 15 or 18 cards of the deck? 15?
There's 4 different ones.
There's 5 total Skull Servant.
5.
So 15 total cards of the deck. Most people, they used to not run Skull Servant and Skull Servant decks because it didn't have an effect, it was pointless. But now with White Prince you kind of need to. And for those who don't know what White Prince's effect is, whenever he hits the grave at all, he's of course treated as Skull Servant in the graveyard. But when he hits the grave from anywhere, send also 1 Skull Servant and 1 Lady in White from your hand or deck to the grave. So it's basically an instant 1 hit, now there's 3 in there. Also, if you ever choose to, you can remove him and plus 2 other Skull Servants in the graveyard. And special summon a King from your deck. Great way to spam out that King first turn if you want.
Yeah.
But now, King gets up to a ridiculous amount of attack. Too ludicrous for a 1-star. But moving on to the non-white portion of the deck. 3 Mizuki for revivals, still a staple in most zombie decks. 2 Plague for sinking, again, staple in most zombie decks. Zombie Master for revival as well. Drop anything such as now a White Prince or any other Skull Servant for something useless and bring it out in the field. Pyramid Turtle to bring anything in this deck out except for Lady in Whites, and the last non-zombie being Mathematician. Controlled milling is a lot better than the random milling of Card Troopers in this deck. Some decks do benefit from Card Trooper over Mathematician just for sheer number, but just sending a White Prince to the grave through Math is very fun. Math always helps kids.
Hate math.
Moving on to the spells, we still have the 2 Dragon's Mirror, still very effective with just about any combo in the deck, which I'll show a few later. Still 2 Dark World Dealings, great card for draw power in this deck. 1 Book of Life, just for some revival, and just for your normal zombie monsters really. 1 1-for-1 because most of this deck is level 1, so why not? 1 Book of Moon just for a staple. 1 Dark Hole for staple. 3 MSTs because no one likes back row on your opponent's side. And that's it for the spells. As for the traps, the new trap in the deck is Chain Disappearance. Very old card. Chain Destruction. It's a different card.
Chain Disappearance was that anti-6-am card that people started running.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it wasn't anti-6-am, but damn did it hurt 6-ams.
Chain Destruction is a very old card. Came out in what? Not Dark Beginnings. It was something else. That was like Pharaoh's Servant or something like that.
Pharaoh's Servant or 11th Nightmare.
One of those 2. It was really old. But when a monster with 2,000 or less attack is summoned, doesn't matter whose monster it is, it could be yours or your opponent's, you can activate it and target one of the monsters that was summoned if multiple were, and destroy all cards that have that name in its controller's hand and deck. So the monsters on the field stays, but all the other copies in that person's hand or deck go to the grave. You can use this offensively or defensively. Offensively being sending your own cards to the grave, ironically.
Yeah, right?
Then just for the last 3 traps, we got 1 Call, 1 Torrential Tribute, and 1 Compulse just for some staples to throw in there. Now the deck count still is I think at 43, but with the way that I mill through my own deck, I kind of need a little bit more. I want a little bit more, I don't need more.
Yeah.
I'm greedy.
I mean, you could cut back 3 cards. It'd be difficult to figure out which ones.
Yeah, monster-wise, I like how everything's sitting on that end.
Also, do you want to go over what you're planning on doing with the main deck with all the artwork?
I do want to go through and basically do custom artwork on everything. Like, do something like Avenged Sevenfold's Hail to the King on this one. I'm not sure what else to do for other ones, but it'd be pretty interesting to have a full custom artwork deck. I chose something that I could do mainly commons. Unfortunately, Mathematician is the only non-common in this deck.
Yeah.
But moving on to my extra deck, I didn't have my friend Kai's here. Kai's someone else. Make me a custom token for my fusion. Awesome looking token.
We might need to get more copies of him just to make you a couple more tokens.
Yeah. Well, I normally only get one out. That's why one's doing good right now. For the 2, Dragon Necro Nether Soul Dragon. Still a great card to have in this deck. Just because Dragon's Mirror gets out. Moving on to Synchros. 1 Underworld Fighter Baltmong, just because he's a great 4 to go into with Plague Spreader in your 2s that you have on the field that you don't want on the field anymore. 1 Allied Justice Catastor is a great problem solver. Easy to get out in the deck with all your 1s and such. For 6s, we have an Iron Chain, just because my opponent doesn't like random milling, more than likely. But he does have a drawback.
Oh,
If
she's playing Light Swarms.
Yeah. Ice Swarms or Shadolls. But he can help out in a pinch, and he can also hurt out in a pinch. But if I'm going for 6s, the first one I'm going for is Goyo. Because who doesn't like taking control of my opponent's stuff? Still 2 Black Roses, loving the boom. Moving on to 8s. 1 Stardust, just because insurance policy. Oh, and custom Stardust. 1 Void Ogre Dragon, because my only tuners are dark. And I tend up not having a hand too much, so might as well be negating stuff while I don't have a hand. And the other one being Beals?
Beals.
Beals of the diabolic dragons.
Yep.
And because he's kind of hard to get around unless your opponent's doing weird crap.
Yeah.
By conventional means, he's kind of hard to get around. But that's the main deck and extra deck. Few combos that I really love doing is taking a White Prince. If I have a White Prince in my hand and a Chain Destruction, I'm set for second turn. Preferably more than 1 Chain Destruction in case they do destroy him, because you really only need 1 per duel, unless you're really going to use it defensively. You just set that, and set some other monster. Next turn, summon your own little White Prince, destroy the rest of your hand and deck. Or if they destroy your White Prince, oh well, you're still getting what you want out of the whole deal. But with White Prince in here, it really makes the deck overpowered. In terms of speed for a deck that almost didn't really have speed. It was just, it moved along at a pace that was really hard to stop.
Yeah, now it
has speed, and it still moves, it's very hard to stop.
Unfortunately, you won't be at regionals to test your deck out.
Unfortunately. But with stuff like Dragon's Mirror and White Prince, or White Mare, you can get all your stuff back from Dragon's Mirror, because you'll normally be doing Skull Servant monsters. The only downside to White Mare is you cannot get White Prince, because he was made before, and White Prince is only treated as Skull Servant in the graveyard. So there's the deck there. Hope you liked the update video. I might do more if any of the other support come out, or if I drastically change the deck. I don't think so at this point, because right now it's pretty much solid. And leave a comment. Tell me what you think of the deck. Tell me if you have criticisms. And leave a like if you like it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Go check out our other ones. You guys have a wonderful night. Raiza out. I'm one of them.